once in a while there just comes along a game that you're just not going to forget. And if I'm being honest, this matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills, this was one of those games for me. I mean, it's like Adrian Peterson, the 296 game there, the 2009 NFC Championship game where the Saints, you guys know what they did, and then this game. I mean, just Buffalo Bills and the Minnesota Vikings, the high-flying Buffalo Bills, it was just wow, 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 wow. Now, in our latest edition of Standouts and FIZZOUTS, which is our version of winners and losers, or everybody's got their own risers and fallers, whatever they have. Ours is Standouts and FIZZOUTS. Standouts because players that stood out, and FIZZOUTS because pop. Yes, we think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Let us know what you guys drink in the comment section down below, because pop is absolutely awesome. Now, this game gave you everything. It gave you, a team coming in like the Vikings that was clearly the underdogs. It gave you a team in the Buffalo Bills that had, really both teams for that matter, had offenses that could score some points, and it absolutely did not disappoint. So we're going to start out with our FIZZOUTS, our standouts for the Minnesota Vikings here. And I got to be honest here, before we actually get into it, like I said, it's very rare that you actually get one of these games where just everybody just seems to be on that level. Like, it's just top to bottom. It was fantastic as I spit all over my laptop. So the first shout out I got to give is to Kirk Cousins. Now, it was rough. After that first drive, after that, a 22-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson, it was rough. So, I mean, he threw those 2 interceptions. One basically right to that man. I believe, if I remember off the top of my head, I believe it was Dane Jackson that he threw it right to. But the interception before that to Christian Benford, I gotta give Benford a lot of credit there. But at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins made some just cojones throws. Just like, I mean, what was it? The Justin Jefferson down to the 2-yard line, or he had coconuts, man. Like, it was fantastic the way he was out there chucking it along, because you just had so many different things going on, like the ramifications of everything that was going on, and he was able to stand in the pocket and just deliver some absolute lasers. And then you had Dalvin Cook, who 81-yard touchdown, baby, 14 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. Also caught a couple of passes, did some big things in the running game. Like, just truly, that offensive line and company just never gave up. They did their things all game long, and yes, it was special. Also, I love what the Vikings are doing with Alexander Madison. CJ Ham also out there getting his first touchdown in literally half a decade, but it is what it is. And how can you not talk about Justin Jefferson, the man, the myth, the legend? 10 catches, 193 yards, and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs' catch was amazing. Don't get me wrong. That was Odell-esque. That was fantastic. Justin Jefferson's was clear. It might be the catch of the last century. Like, it just might be. Now, don't get me wrong. Odell and Justin Jefferson made huge catches, but Justin Jefferson, he had to go fight against the defender, catch it with one hit. It was just literally one of the reasons I'll never forget this game. So Justin Jefferson, really the man of the match, just keeping the Vikings offense going in all those different facets. Even in double coverage, doesn't matter. He was clearly the player of the game. Adam Thielen, 5 catches, 49 yards, really is that reliable presence as a veteran that the Vikings need. Also, TJ Hawkinson, 7 catches, 45 yards. It just, every time that the Vikings want to go look over the middle, it's TJ Hawkinson. He is targeted early and often, and you absolutely love it. KJ Osborne also caught that, basically another dime from Kirk Cousins for the Vikings, and they just I will say the Vikings need to score touchdowns rather than field goals in the red zone, but that is definitely something you'll focus on a little bit later. So obviously, Dalvin Cook, Eric Kendricks was another standout. He recovered that fumble to give the Vikings the lead early there, really basically to send it to overtime, because we knew with 30 some odd seconds that Josh Allen had, as well as a couple of timeouts, we knew he was going to go kick the field goal. We didn't panic. It was what it was. Also, Eric Kendricks, had 10 tackles on the day. He was an absolute stud, just getting the job done in a lot of different facets there. So you got to love, nothing but love and everything for Eric Kendricks. So Za'Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter also were definitely standouts for me. You're talking about two guys that they lead you in every single facet of the game in terms of getting to the quarterback, doing a lot of different things, and you love to see it. Those two absolutely getting after it and finding ways to, honestly just continue, bring and put pressure on Josh Allen. I absolutely love it. So, yes, Za'Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter both had a sack on the day. Patrick Peterson, 2 interceptions, including the nail in the coffin right into it. You got to love it. I mean, just Patrick Peterson, he's come up big for the Vikings this year in a lot of different ways. So you just got to give a lot of love and respect to the veteran. Also, Harrison Phillips. Harrison Phillips did a lot of great things in this game. Like, you're going into your former stadium with your former team, and it's just, the ramifications, all of the, the headlines and everything. But he went in there. He played a great game. The Vikings defensive line actually really did get after the Bills offensive line for a large portion of the game. But Josh Allen running for first downs, I mean, what are you going to do? It's just tough overall. So Blake Brandel stepped in nicely there for Christian Darrisaw, who went out with a concussion. I think it was the second half. And I mean, you hope that Christian Darrisaw is going to come back, but I mean, the Vikings offensive line, I think, is in good hands. I think Brandel can do some good things for the Vikings moving forward. Also, Cameron Bynum out there, he was going around making huge plays. And quite honestly, it's so nice having the tandem of Cameron Bynum and Harrison Smith back there. Is just both of them getting after it. Also, scooped the one play I absolutely loved was that scoop on that fumble that Singletary, we'll get into him in just a second, that put on the ground. He was a standout, but overall he put it on the ground, and Cameron Bynum just, obviously took off, made sure he wasn't touched, and it was a huge play for the Vikings, really, especially with the Bills running the football the way that they were. Also, offensive play calling for most of the game, I'll give it a standout. So the Vikings, like, moving the ball wasn't a problem, especially that first drive, that first touchdown to Justin Jefferson. Throughout the game, they were able to convert third downs, do their thing, but it's just the red zone. We'll talk about that overall. But also C.J. Ham, like we mentioned, first touchdown in 5 years. You got to love it. Brian O'Neill, fizz out. I don't know why he's no, I got him on my list here. But anyway, so as far as fizz outs for the Vikings, we'll start out with Brian O'Neill. Like, just got absolutely owned, by Von Miller. I was blanking on it for a second, but just got absolutely owned. It was rough, wasn't pretty, and it is what it is at this point. So, especially late in the game like that, you're a veteran tackle, got paid all that money in the offseason. You can't be allowing things like that. Also, the run defense for the Vikings, more specifically, like the very beginning of the game, and then also Josh Allen. We forgot he could run. Just this man, he absolutely just gashed the Vikings. We'll touch on him in a second. Also, not putting a spy on Josh Allen, just letting him run around like Brian Asamoah. Please, can we just get this guy on the field? Even though, yes, Brian Asamoah is a younger player than a guy like Jordan Hicks, but just put him on the field. You won't regret it. Also, Ed Ingram got beat by Ed Oliver, and really just the entire game, it's just becoming a circus at this point. The Vikings either need to have a talk with them or something needs to go on there. Also, the no call, many no calls, that is, on how TJ Hawkinson got mugged all game long. This man just was getting pulled down, pushed down, all of it, none of it getting called. The refs, even for both sides, it was just absolutely awful. Also, Greg Joseph, you missed that PAT, and the Vikings now have to go and score a touchdown to win the football game. The Vikings might be having a talk about what they want to do at the kicker position. Andrew Booth Jr., we knew it could be potentially rough. I mean, it's Stephon Diggs. The dude is one of the best wide receivers in the entire game. Obviously made that amazing catch there. But overall, yeah, Andrew Booth Jr. had himself a rough go about it in a lot of different ways. There were sometimes he stood out, but for the most part, it was rough. They definitely picked on him. Also, that 4th and goal execution by the Vikings. I mean, just, you are on the inch-yard line, you sneeze, and it was just, it was rough. I mean, just like we said, trips to the red zone today, the Vikings left a lot on the board. They need to get better in that regard. Ezra Cleveland, our last fizz out for the Vikings. I mean, wow. This is the last couple of weeks he's gotten beat for a sack, and I get the fact that everybody's a professional, everybody's going to get beat, but Ezra Cleveland, after he started out pretty good on the game, he definitely needs to kind of get back to it, if you ask me. But as far as the rest of it goes, like I said, I was really pleased with how the Vikings were able to piece it together, get that big-time win. Shondon Sullivan led the way with 9 tackles. Should have had a pick at the beginning of the game, but it is what it is. Also, Harrison Smith, 6 tackles. You kind of saw he was getting a little chippy with Stephon Diggs, but it is what it is there. Caleb Evans had a pretty strong game overall, and honestly, the Vikings, they did what they needed to win. Oh, by the way, the Vikings kick coverage, please, can we get that under control? It was bad. It was absolutely awful. So, the Bills, we'll start out with standouts. Now, I'm going to put Josh Allen in the standouts here because, okay, I know he had, those late game turnover, that fumble 6, scoop and score, whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, my pop can's getting a little wild. That Eric Hendricks had at the end of regulation there before they went into overtime. Also had a couple of interceptions to Patrick Peterson. Wasn't great, but overall, he's just such a dangerous player. The Bills, they are the team to beat in the AFC. I don't care what anybody says. They're just so difficult to guard in so many different ways. Even when you think you got him as defensive coordinator, they're just not done. But also Josh Allen, 6 carries carries, 84 yards. He went 29 of 43 for 330 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Devin Singletary, definitely another standout for me. Really started out the game strong. The Bills just got to run the ball for 4 quarters. That's really one of their main issues. But Devin Singletary, 13 carries, 47 yards, and 2 touchdowns. James Cook, I would like to see him get the ball a lot more, but it is what it is at that point. But also, I have been saying this for a little while now, but Isaiah McKenzie needs to get the ball a lot more. Like, I don't care if it's bubble screens, I don't care if it's end arounds, but he's a guy who had that carry for 18 yards, also had a couple of big-time catches in there, and really, honestly, he really stood out to me, and I think that he needs to be a bigger part of this Bills offense, but again, it is what it is. Also, how can I talk about the Bills and Stephon Diggs? Come on, Colton, 12 catches, 128 yards, also Gabe Davis, 6 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Dawson Knox also had a big day, 4 catches for 57 yards, and then Isaiah McKenzie, like we talked about, 4 catches for 37 yards as well. So really just top to bottom, the Bills offense did not disappoint. They were getting it done in a lot of different ways out there. Also Christian Benford had that huge interception on Kirk Cousins. You love to see it. Really read the play well and made a play on the ball. Dane Jackson, stand out, sure, but all he did was catch a pass that was thrown right to him, but we'll give him the standout here. Also, Ed Oliver, that huge sack there late in the game on Ezra Cleveland that just put the Vikings, it was on Ed Ingram, not Ezra Cleveland. But overall, it was absolutely rough. You saw those guys going at it all game long, and Ezra Cleveland, like I said, Ed Ingram both need to figure it out, but it is what it is. Damar Hamlin, also another standout for me. Like, this man just lays the wood on everybody. He doesn't care at all. That man is an absolute stud. Also, Matt Milano gave Christian Darrisaw a couple of fits on the edge there. AJ Epinesa, good Lord help me, had a sack. Carlos Basham, Boogie Basham out there getting it done as well. Von Miller, another standout for me. Ed Oliver, there's 2 Eds and Eds. Shaq Lawson also added half a sack in there. Like, the Bills' run game and run defense really wasn't that bad. It was just the Vikings just keep pounding it and doing what they needed to do to be able to win that game. So, but as far as fizzouts for the Buffalo Bills, I got to talk about those Josh Allen late turnovers and also the interceptions. Like, it's just... Didn't practice all week, so you kind of give them a pass there, but overall, you are the team to beat. I'll say it again for the people in the back. You are the team to beat in the AFC, and that comes out, it wasn't great. Also, the offensive line. The Vikings pass rush, for the most part, it was pretty good for the Vikings. That is, like, they were really able to get after Josh Allen a lot. He had to do a lot of running, and overall, it's Josh Allen. He's athletic enough to be able to mask it, but overall, the offensive line for the Bills, yes, I wanted them to also do a little bit better of a job in terms of run blocking there, but it is what it is. Also, late game coaching decisions in regards to Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson had burned you defensively a lot. I know you double covered him, and there's not really a lot more you can do because sometimes big players make big plays in big time situations. But overall, you got to try something. Like, everybody but this guy should beat us, and that is literally I really questioned some of the things they did defensively really late in the game. But overall, like I said, this was one of those games that was absolutely amazing, top to bottom. Both teams came out to play, and it was fantastic. But that's it. That's standouts and fizzouts for the Minnesota Vikings versus Buffalo Bills matchup. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Down in the description below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. So give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover. But let us know what you guys think about our latest edition of Standouts and Fizzouts for the Minnesota Vikings versus Buffalo Bills matchup.